One silent moment inside the Capitol sparked a storm no one anticipated. A voice of confidence stumbled. A lone question shifted the balance. And behind it, a truth too much to bear. For audience members in the US, UK, Canada, and Australia, what would you do when everything you've worked for hangs in the balance? Press play to get into it. A single moment within the Capitol can spin everything around. Whispered words spoken beneath gilded ceilings, in a breathless pause before the storm erupts. What does one do when duty, ambition, and conscience meet there in that harsh light? As we enter into Senator Adam Schiff's darkest moment, where a trusted voice turns against him and a resolute judge poses the questions we all dread, reflect on this. How do we define integrity when the entire world is observing, and what would we do to protect the truth we prize? Get comfortable, take a deep breath, and walk these marble halls alongside me. The tale begins from here. In the Capitol, in the bright light of public scrutiny, Senator Adam Schiff enters what may be the most difficult moment of his life. The air is charged with tension. A contentious intelligence memo is at issue, something strong enough to topple his masterfully constructed reputation. Seated across from him is Judge Jeanine Pirro. She's fast-tongued, infamous for being sharp-lipped on Fox News, and today she's playing the part of Chief Inquisitor. She's not merely asking questions, she's drilling, questioning, ready to reveal whatever secrets may be hidden. At the height of the hearing, something surprising occurs. Schiff stumbles for just an instant, but in a room this quiet, this charged, even a moment's doubt sounds like a clap of thunder. The cameras are running, the millions are watching, and in that momentary silence, the air almost sizzles. Before we go deeper into this moment, leave a comment below where you're tuning in from, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any of these impactful, true stories. Now back to the room. It's suffocating, heavy with tension, as if the air's been wrung out by the concentrated attention of everyone in the room. Senator Schiff sits rigid, struggling to conceal the boom of his heart. All eyes are on him. Jeanine Pirro, serene and unruffled, sits directly across from her. She twists a pen slowly in her hand, each revolution a mute countdown. Tick, tick. The gentle tap of that pen on the varnished wood table rings out more clearly than it ought to, sending a shiver through Schiff as if the interrogation had already commenced, even though no one said anything yet. At last, she raises her eyes. Her tone is icy, but keen enough to shave glass. Senator Schiff, describe your internal process in your office when the memo was written. Who is it that reviewed the revisions prior to sending? Schiff hunches forward over the microphone, clears his throat. The light from the chandelier catches a glint of sweat on his forehead. He attempts to speak measuredly. Madam Judge, my office follows normal procedure. The memo was written by a special team under the guidance of my Chief of Staff, Mr. David Langston. All revisions were done to safeguard sensitive information, everything in compliance with national security guidelines. His voice is even, but under the table, out of anyone's sight, his hands are in a tight fist, fingernails digging into his palms. Pirro doesn't immediately reply. She inclines her head ever so slightly. It's subtle but intentional, as if she's slowly rolling his words around in her head. So you claim, she speaks slowly, that all of the edits were considered carefully? That final word, carefully, strikes like a challenge, a gentle word with an abrasive edge. Schiff nods slightly, but in his head, something flickers. A recollection. A meeting in his Los Angeles office long ago. It had been hasty. Langston had the draft before him, brow creased, voice low and worried. We need to double-check these numbers, Langston had told him. But Schiff had dismissed him, his focus torn in a dozen different directions, including phone calls from Democratic leadership. He hadn't given it much thought at the time. Now back in the hearing room, he responds, That's right, I have faith in my staff. But even as he speaks, his voice sounds just a bit too high. Not loud, just lighter than intended, and he knows it, like a bridge that can collapse under the pressure of the next question. Pirro turns a page in her folder. The noise, just the rustle of paper, is somehow audible in the silent room. A few of the reporters look up, feeling the moment. Senator, she persists, staring at him. Do you know that the memo had created a grave misinterpretation within the Intelligence Committee, resulting in charges that you had consciously withheld information from your colleagues? Schiff's mouth opens, but the words catch, like the air has been filled with molasses. I did not consciously withhold any information, he replies, tone stiff and flat. My intention was to remain transparent while still safeguarding national security. Even he can listen to how empty it rings, like a statement he intended to practice but never really did. Piero seizes. Transparency? She says the word back to him, her voice thick with incredulity. And why then did three other members of the committee, among them one of your own Democrats, claim they'd never seen those edits prior to the release of the memo? A shiver runs through the room. Reporters and staff squirm in their seats, their gazes needling Schiff's flesh. He looks across at David Langston in the back row. His chief of staff sits impassive, revealing nothing. A recollection cuts through Langston at Schiff's desk, frantic. Sir, we need more time. Schiff had dismissed him, too distracted rushing to his next Senate hearing. Now he asks himself, was that when all this began to unravel? He takes a deliberate breath. Madam Judge, there was perhaps a breakdown in internal communication, he states, relying on the word assure for additional emphasis. But I assure you there was no intent to mislead. Piero raises an eyebrow, one only, but the motion strips him naked. She drops her pen with foreboding serenity. A breakdown in communication, she repeats, voice low and steady. Senator, you have chairmanship of one of Congress's most highly charged committees. Are you aware of what this sort of breakdown can do? Schiff attempts a response, but before he can utter a word, an aide bends over to whisper something in the ear of Piero. She nods, gaze fixed on him. We will break to discuss a newly received document, she states, as slick as ice but freighted with suggestion. Schiff's stomach churns. A new memo? He scans for Langston, but his aide will not look at him. Reporters burst into gentle babble, the clucking of flying fingers drowning the chamber in a warm rain. Piero comes back, clutching a thin pile of cool pages. Sunlight from the tall windows pools across her desk, lighting the steely set of her jaw. She riffles through the pages with the delicate precision of a surgeon. Senator Schiff, she starts, voice subdued but whip-sharp. This document indicates your office published a version of the memo that omitted three crucial paragraphs. Paragraphs that are in conflict with the sworn depositions of two NSA employees. Why is that? Schiff leans toward the mic, gritting his jaw to keep his voice level, while sweat forms on his temples. Madam Judge, Piero leans forward, her tone honey-smooth, but with an unmistakable threat. I'll give you a moment to explain before we call our next witness, she interrupts. Be careful what you say. A wave of mutters spreads through the room as aides rustle papers and onlookers lean forward. Senator Schiff remains motionless, his eyes fixed on Piero. The room seems to shrink by the second, air pressing down on him. Piero's calm is icy keen. She picks up a new batch of papers, edges ever so slightly curled, as if in a wry sneer, and wraps her gavel gently, cutting the murmurs in two. Before we continue, she states, voice cutting cleanly through the quiet, the committee has just been furnished with a leaked document containing the omitted paragraphs by Senator Schiff's office. These contain significant contradictions with NSA testimony regarding a citizen surveillance program. Schiff's pulse plummets, a leaked memo. He glances at David Langston, his chief of staff. Langston is gazing at the floor as if willing it to engulf him. Schiff recalls the short emails, admonishments Langston had fired off, thinking the commotion would dissipate in the news cycle. That hubris now returns like a boomerang, coming straight back to nail him. Piero continues, steady and powerful voice. Senator, the omitted paragraphs seem to conceal information about a contentious spy program. Why was it omitted? Schiff slouches towards the mic, ringing out every word. Madam Judge, I don't know of any withholding on purpose. If there is inconsistency, it is from process failure, not from deception. Even to his own ears, the excuse sounds inadequate, a cardboard barrier against Piero's steel-eyed scrutiny. A few blocks from there, in a crowded Hill newsroom, aspiring reporter Emily Harper glares at the blue light of her laptop. She's the one who had gotten the leaked document in an encrypted email, with someone purporting to work in Schiff's office. The file reveals the censored paragraphs outlining an NSA program that might intrude into citizens' privacy. Emily spent the night double-checking every line, her heart thudding each time a new email pinged in. "If I'm wrong, my career's over," she whispers. But the source is solid, and this scoop is dynamite. With trembling fingers, she finally hits publish. Moments later, the headline blares across screens. Leaked document exposes misconduct in Schiff's office. In the hearing room, phones ring like irate hornets. Reporters murmur among themselves. Staffer eyes open wide. Schiff leak proliferates on social media, with thousands calling the senator a liar and calling for his resignation. Schiff can sense the burden of each glare, each a dart thrown at his heart. He glances at his aides, but even Langston won't meet his eye, as if they're all aboard a sinking ship in a hurry. Feeling the gathering storm, Pirro raps her gavel again. "Senator," she starts. Pirro's voice grows cold. "These pages weren't just leaked. They've been reviewed by outside experts. Do you still insist that you knew nothing about those missing paragraphs?" Schiff draws in a deep breath, searching for a safe response. "I never instructed anything to be concealed," he replies, his voice quivering, as if he's tiptoeing along a tight wire between skyscrapers. "If there were errors, I'll investigate and take responsibility." But the rising buzz in the gallery drowns out his words. As she sits in her tiny newsroom, reporter Emily Harper tracks social media responses blow up. Her article is sharing at lightning speed. She feels as though she has thrown a rock into a hornet's nest and is wondering if the hornets will come for her soon. A new insistent message appears on her screen from her anonymous source. "They are about to call a witness. Keep watching." In the hearing room again, Pirro sets the document down, eyes boring into Schiff like a spear tip. "Senator, if you can't account for this, maybe our next witness will be able to." Her voice is that of a deliverer of a final judgment. She nods to the staff. A heavy silence falls. Schiff's chest constricts. He looks at David Langston, who finally raises his head. Langston's gaze is icy, like one who's already leapt from the foundering ship. The clerk's voice rings out. "Mr. David Langston, please come to the stand." Schiff's heart comes to a halt. Langston, Schiff's former best friend, emerges from the rear row. Footsteps resound on the marble floor like a drum roll signaling a storm. His right hand shakes at the stand as he takes the oath on the Bible. He glances Schiff's way. No fondness there, just a removed coldness. Pirro inches closer, light from the chandeliers glinting off her hair like a severe ancient judge. "Mr. Langston," she starts, speaking in low, sharp tones, "you were Senator Schiff's chief of staff when this memo was written. Did you caution him regarding contradictions prior to its release?" Langston breathes deeply, eyes lowering as if struggling with himself. Then he looks up again, speaking clearly, though with weight. "Yes, Madam Judge, I advised Senator Schiff that missing paragraphs might be misleading, particularly in light of the NSA testimony." Gas waves across the room. Cameras click. Reporters pound at keyboards, flinging the news onto the internet. Schiff's face pales, his hands grip the chair as if it were the sole thing holding him in place. Langston continues, voice shaking but resolute. "I asked him to hold up on the release so we could double check. But Senator Schiff said," he quotes, "just get it out. It'll be buried in the noise." Pirro raises a hand, silencing the commotion, but her eyes remain fixed on Langston. "Mr. Langston, are you sure of that quote?" she says, tone as sharp as a honed blade. "You know you're taking an oath, and lying comes with severe repercussions." Langston nods slowly, his eyes locking with Schiff's for a fleeting instant, teeming with remorse. "I get the point, Madam Judge," he declares, and his voice is firm but racked. "I did not want to testify against him, but the truth can no longer be concealed. That memo has already caused actual damage, and I cannot be silent anymore." For Schiff, the floor has disappeared. In an instant, he recalls late-night strategy sessions with Langston, gobs of terrible coffee, mutual jokes, rock-solid loyalty. Now his closest aide stands there like a soldier deserting ranks. Reporters from all the networks, CNN to the Daily Caller, stand silently, pens suspended like arrows. Schiff's protest is stuck in his throat. Pirro regards him, voice calm but combative. Senator, do you want to respond to Mr. Langston's testimony? She says, or just be silent and allow the committee to make its own conclusions. He takes a ragged breath as if he's just run from desert sun. Madam Judge, he struggles to say, I don't remember that particular conversation. But if Mr. Langston says it occurred, I'll look at the records. Pirro nods, a small, unmistakable smile indicating she's not convinced. Thank you, Senator. She addresses Langston. Mr. Langston, you may be seated. Langston descends from the stand, shoulders slumping as though he's just put down a boulder. Reporters swarm, headlines being written in real time. Schiff's aide betrays him. Cameras click, keyboards clack, and social media goes ablaze. Schiff sits impassively, bracing against the lights as they incinerate what is left of his credibility. Pirro's gavel shatters the silence. We're going to have a brief recess, she declares, voice that rings like a bell. Senator Schiff, I think you better prepare for round 2 of questioning. Everyone stands, but Schiff continues to sit, an isolated statue in a whirlwind of movement. Moments pass and the silence returns. Pirro is a tall woman, sunlight from the tall windows glinting in her blonde hair like a war banner. Senator Schiff, she states, the committee requires all documents concerning the memo in 72 hours. Refusal to comply could have severe implications. The statement lands like a sledgehammer. Reporters and senators alike squirm uncomfortably, Cory Booker among them. Schiff draws a deep breath, chest tight. He rises on shaky legs, leans toward the mic. Madam Judge, he says, sounding like someone crawling from wreckage. I'm sorry my emotions got the better of me. My office mishandled the memo. I'll take responsibility and turn over every document. Pirro's gaze never wavers. Thank you for your cooperation, Senator, she responds, voice cold and precise. The committee will consider your submission. This hearing is adjourned. Her gavel descends a final time and the room explodes. Reporters tweeting like wildfires, cameras spinning, witnesses whispering. Schiff moves back, shoulders hunched, under an unseen burden. Beyond the Capitol, sunbeams brighten summer days over white columns, but to Adam Schiff, it's far from daylight. Schiff exits the Capitol and into pandemonium. The tempest is no longer figurative, it's actual, it's thundering around him. A sea of reporters moves toward him, voices cresting one another like waves on the beach. Senator, will you resign? Is Langston's testimony accurate? The shouts blur together. Microphones and cameras close in like a wall of spears. Flashes go off in every direction, blinding. Schiff pushes forward, muttering only, I'll review everything and respond later. But his words vanish into the noise, swallowed whole by the frenzy. A block away, Emily Harper sits in the small office of the Hill, her eyes wide with the storm rolling out before her in real time. Her story, leaked document exposes Schiff's misconduct, has blown up. Millions of hits, thousands of comments, some demanding resignations, others prosecution. Her hands shake on the keyboard. She's lit a firecracker, and the burst is still ongoing. But fear creeps in as well. Her source, a Schiff staffer, is at risk of being exposed. If they get caught, the whole thing could blow up. She works fast to write a follow-up article, capturing Schiff's meltdown during the hearing. But this time, she includes a pointed question. Is Judge Pirro pursuing truth or playing politics? In the Hart Senate office building, Schiff mobilizes what is left of his staff. The atmosphere is somber. All sit rigidly in their seats around the table. Young assistants such as Sarah, experienced strategists, veteran advisors, none of them will look at you. We need a plan, Schiff says, voice strained and exhausted, as if she'd just run a marathon with no end in sight. The media is destroying us. We need to get out the documents, draw up a simple statement. But one of the young aides pipes up, trembling voice. Sir, if Langston was lying, what then? The question lingers in the air like a cloud of smoke. Schiff glances around at the faces and sees the foundation giving way. Langston, the man he had put his trust in, has vanished. Calls going unreturned, messages unheeded. A foundation has been lost, and the edifice seems shaky. We'll find the truth, Schiff replies. But even he hears how empty it sounds, like a script line he forgot halfway through. On TV screens across the country, the battle is already raging. The Situation Room calls it a crisis of leadership. Hannity hails Pirro as a fearless champion of truth. Observers disagree, some labeling Schiff a casualty of political treachery, others accusing him of being the master of his own demise. Twitter erupts with memes, GIFs, manipulated segments of his botched responses, and shocked silence. Across the room in his office, Schiff sits alone, with his back to the glass, looking out into the darkness. Streetlights along Constitution Avenue stutter like warning lights. He has spent decades crafting his reputation, stone by stone. And now he can sense the entire edifice trembling. In the Hill's newsroom, Emily is gazing at her screen. Her source sent another message. Be careful. They're searching for the leaker. Her heart constricts. Fear pulls at her, but she doesn't quit. She writes another paragraph into her next story, asking a tough question. Is this real justice or a political grudge played out in public? She sends it, knowing this story is far from finished. Night descends on Washington, D.C. The lights of the Capitol stretch out long shadows across the stone-paved streets. Senator Adam Schiff stands alone in his office. His tired eyes gaze at the throb of traffic and moving lights below, like the final beats of something fading away. There is silence, only the ticking wall clock, each second moving like a signal that time and power are both fading away. On his desk, his phone is ringing again. Another headline, another alert, but he doesn't pick it up. The consequences have just started to roll in. Down the hall, Judge Jeanine Pirro exits the Capitol with confidence ringing off the marble. Republicans, such senators as Josh Hawley and the usual Fox News talking heads, treat her as a hero truth seeker. Civil liberties groups and some independent reporters aren't impressed. They call the hearing a political circus. Pirro shrugs it all off. In a quick Newsmax interview, she says calm and crisp, I'm just doing my job, asking questions and finding answers. Yet as she turns away, there's that small, satisfied glint in her eye, like someone who just racked up another win. Back in his quiet office, Schiff opens an email from his attorney. Prepare for worst-case scenarios. The list includes everything from committee suspension to a potential criminal investigation. He shuts down the laptop and gazes at a framed vacation snapshot, his wife and children smiling in the California sun. The prospect of confronting them after today knots his stomach. He moves out onto the balcony, drawing cool evening air into his body. Below, a few protesters brandish signs that say, Justice for Truth and Schiff must go. Thinly but unmistakably, their chant drifts up. Emily's inbox beeps. Thank you, but I have to take a hop, the source adds. A shiver runs down her spine. More revelations might emerge, but for the moment, the whistleblower is silent. She wraps her latest article with the same open question. Did today's fireworks really serve justice or just relocate political chess pieces? Schiff heads back to his desk. He reaches for a pen to write out a statement, but his hand trembles. The next 72 hours will challenge everything. His seat on his committee, his reputation in the public eye, even his personal sense of what's right and wrong. Outside, the Capitol dome shines like a beacon in the dark sky, a reminder of all he's committed his life to, and possibly what he still might lose. The tale doesn't end here. The Ethics Committee has a secret meeting scheduled, and rumors of a broader inquiry circulate. Online, the country divides into two raucous camps. Schiff is the real victim versus Pirro for the win. Emily closes her laptop, eyes wandering into the night. Truth, she's discovered, always comes with a price. Under the dim lighting of D.C., the Capitol looms, observing. Schiff looks out at the horizon, anticipating any suggestion of dawn. In his heart, he is certain. The storm has merely begun, and what comes after will determine not just his destiny, but how the textbooks write his name. The takeaway. The whirlwind surrounding Adam Schiff, Judge Pirro, and journalist Emily Harper demonstrates how easily reputations can be shattered in U.S. politics today. Schiff's overlooked warning signs and Langston's betrayal demonstrate that disregarding red flags can spectacularly rebound. Pirro's interrogation teaches us the utility and risks of public confrontation, and Emily's reporting reminds us that speaking truth to power is a risky business. Lesson number 1, Double-check the facts, no matter how hectic life gets. Lesson 2. Maintain your composure when pressure hits the roof. One rage can follow you for eternity. Lesson 3. Whistleblowing or investigative journalism may reveal light, but prepare for the backlash. Want to see the next turn in this and other high-stakes political thrillers? Subscribe and hit that notification bell so you won't miss the secrets yet to be revealed. Thanks for watching, and catch you in the next story.